Good morning. Thank you so much for joining me for Pilates All Levels. My name is Audra, and today we're going to use a little ball. If you don't have one at home, feel free to use a pillow, fold it in half, or just go without a prop. It's totally fine. As always, listen to your body. Don't do anything that doesn't feel right. And yeah, let's get started. We're actually going to get started in a seated position. Knees bent, feet flat. Now, hands can go behind you. It's okay to have them behind you. I prefer them out to the side. And now we're actually just going to push the floor away to lift the crown of our head to the sky. Good. So think about a plank. And Elizabeth, look forward for me. Yeah, there you go. Now we're just letting our knees start to windshield wiper one direction and then the other. Starting to get a little bit of movement through our hip joint. If something doesn't feel right, don't do it. Hopefully internal rotation feels okay. A lot of times we tend to focus a lot on external rotation because we don't want inadvertent like knee valgus while we're doing, our daily tasks. But we also need internal rotation to have a healthy functioning hip. Now we're going to pause on one side and bring yourself upright. So it's kind of that mermaid position. If this feels jammy in your hip, you can just cross your legs like a little crisscross applesauce. You're gonna grab onto your shin of the internally rotated leg, take your hand up and over and get a nice little stretch here. Inhaling into that area. Now hold that side bend. We're actually going to come into a small extension here. So lift your collarbones. And then holding that, we're going to rotate our collarbones so we're looking at the sky. Now big inhale, big exhale. One more inhale. Now hold that same position, except we're now going to point our collarbones the opposite way. So we are still side bending, we're still extending, but we're just looking the other way. Yeah. So the direction that our hand is pointing. And then come back to center. We get to do the other side. So let your legs go the other way. We're gonna hold on to that front thigh. Nice side bend. And then come into a little bit of extension and then rotate so you are looking underneath that arm. And big inhale here. And exhale and see where you feel tension. Maybe you don't, looking this direction. And then we're keeping everything the same except we're just rotating the opposite direction. Good. And big inhale. Still side bending. Still extending. And come back to center. Good, we just stretched our internal and external obliques. We're gonna come on to all fours for a moment. And if it doesn't feel great to be on your hands, you can always come onto your forearms. And we're just gonna press our whole spine to the sky. Try not to only press through your thoracic, but lift your whole spine. So belly button, hip bones, and then slowly sink your whole spine the opposite direction. So you will look forward here. So your neck is in a gentle extension. We don't want hyperextension. And then press, looking down at your knees. And then extend. Now we're doing the exact same thing, except we're going to articulate through our spine. We're undulating now. So I'll turn this way and then I'll turn the other way. We're going to curl the tailbone, lift the hip bones, and then press into the hands looking down at the knees. And then we'll go the opposite direction. So widen through your sits bones, let your hip bones drop down, and then open your collarbones forward. And I'll show it at a different direction. So now pull your hip bones towards the sky, let your tailbone gently melt down, and then eventually press into the hands and thoracic. Hold that as you widen through your sits bones and articulate. Shoulder blades draw down your back. Good. Last one like this. This should feel nice and easy, so don't force a range that feels bad. When you are allowing your hip bones to come up, think of your tailbone melting down like Salvador Dali's clock, and then the ribs, and then the other direction. Come back to center, and we're just getting a little rotation. We're gonna try to get it mostly through our thoracic spine. So take one hand, slide it underneath your arm, and slide that hand away from you as you bend your elbow. Come back to center. Good. Now, show it a different direction. So we just slide, yeah. And same direction for just a few more. If you accidentally switched, you can keep going back and forth. It's okay. Yeah, one side. As I said, if you accidentally went back and forth, I'm not mad about it. It's okay. Just keep going back and forth. And then we get to do the other side. So just allow your rib cage to rotate and then back to center. So rib cage rotation is so important, you guys, because our rib cage is supposed to be able to rotate about 40 degrees, and our lumbar spine is only supposed to be able to rotate about 10 to 15 degrees. And if we're not allowing rotation to occur in our rib cage, guess what does more of the work? Lumbar. And come back to center. We're gonna lie down on our back, take your prop, pop it between your knees, and come all the way down. Now just kind of feel where you are. And if your low back feels a little twingy at all, take your hands, place them on your thighs, and gently start to press your hands into your thighs to get a little bit of traction here. Don't go at 100 because when you let go, there can be that bounce back effect. So we just want about 10%. And on your next exhale, try to keep the front of your hips as relaxed as possible. And just exhale, hug your hip bones together, ribs also kind of pull towards your belly button. So it's not a crunch, we're not imprinting, we are just drawing our ribs and hip bones towards our midline. On your next inhale, inhale wide into your ribs. Exhale, hug everything together. Hopefully, you can start to feel your muscles engage without even having to move. 2 more. Last one like this. And now we'd imprint. So think about pulling your hip bones towards your face, melting your low back towards the ground, kind of like what we just did on all fours. And then rock your hips back to neutral. And again. If for any reason imprinting doesn't work for your body, right, you can stay in more neutral and just kind of go into a tiny bit of extension to neutral. 2 more. On this next one, hold your imprint. Hold. Now, feel what's working here. Hopefully you can feel your abs. Make sure your toes are pointing straight ahead. Push down into your big toe mound and start to peel your spine up off the floor, like a sticker being peeled off a wall. Now hold here. Make sure that you're not flaring your ribs or feeling tension in your low back. We're gonna tuck that tailbone, knit the ribs in, and push your big toe mound into the ground. Drag your heels towards you and see if you can recruit that back line a little bit more. On the way down, melt your throat away from your face, ribs, then low back, then widen through your sits bones. So we just articulated much like we did on all fours. And exhale, find that recruitment, push into the floor here, and peel. At the top of your bridge, you might feel a stretch through the front of your thighs. On the way down, think of your breath helping the tissue of your back melt. And then widen through your sits bones. One more like this, and then we get to experiment with movement. So one of the cool things about our nervous system is even if you do the exact same move with a different intent, the nervous system responds differently. So on your next bridge, we're going to melt a slightly different way. So come on up. And I just want you to think about your glutes helping slow your descent. That's it. And then on the next one, the glutes aren't going to be as involved. Imagine the glutes relaxing, and then see if that helps your abs slow your descent a little bit more. And come down. Last one, we're gonna hold it up. Keep that lift of your pubic bone. Gently squeeze your prop. Bring your hands up. Good. Now, just let the hands come overhead and melt all the way from your throat and collarbones all the way down, creating a little bit of traction through your spine. Hands can come forward. Inhale. Exhale. Curl your collarbones forward as if you're trying to curl up and over a beach ball. Yep. Good. Fingertips forward. Hands come up, interlace, and then slowly descend. Now, if you did that with a deep imprint, see if you can maintain a slightly more neutral pelvis. We're gonna have our elbows slightly forward. Exhale, come up. Hands come forward, push into an imaginary surface. Fingertips come up, hold. Squeeze the ball a little, and then slowly lower. Now, if your feet are pretty wide, that's gonna create like kind of a triangle shape where your knees are already in. Try to bring your feet closer together, so as you squeeze, you're still in about a neutral. Exhale, ribs sink down, then hands come forward, push into that imaginary surface, hands come up, and we hold. Good. Now bring one hand down. Good. And we're just going to keep it still. If it reaches away from you, you are side bending. Think about your opposite armpit coming up and over. Good. And then back to center. Same thing, same side. Good. Think about rotation rather than side bending. Good. Couple more. Now we can add on. Are you excited? Same side leg that you are rotating towards is going to squeeze your prop. And then back. Same side leg you are rotating towards is the one that's going to squeeze. Sometimes it's tricky to separate them out, but we're trying. Two more. And of course, if you need a break, take one. Breaks are great. Last one, hold, switch hands. Good. Now, just for funsies, if you want, reach that hand down and then back, and now don't reach it away from you, okay? We're trying to rotate from our opposite rib cage and then back. And then rotate. Feel your shoulder blades underneath you, right? If they move from side to side, see if you can just lift one of them. That's it, just one. And then you can add that squeeze of the prop. Good. 4, how are your obliques doing? Great. 3, good. 2 more. Last 1, come all the way down. Nice job. Go ahead, bring your feet closer to you. Find that nice neutral pelvis. Hug everything together. Squeeze the prop, lift your heels, and then flex your feet only. And then tap. And then flex your feet. So when you flex, your heels come off the ground. So you are pointing your toes, keeping your ankle right where it is, keep your knees right where they are, just lift your toes. Good, give me a couple more. So tap your toes on the ground so your knees are farther away from your face. Everybody? Yeah. Good, tap the toes, hold that. Yeah, now don't tap your knee or your heels on the ground. Keep your heels off the ground, just lift your toes. Yeah, there you go. That should be more work, yeah? Good. Nancy, hips down. Yeah, there you go. I was like, wait, what's happening over there? Good. Yeah. 2 more. I was like, wow, you're gonna be able to lift your heels while having your hips up? I was so impressed. 2 more. Last 1, and come down. Bring your hands back behind your head. Spiral your elbows forward. Shoulder blades draw down your back. Come into your chest lift. Good. Now, lift those heels again. Squeeze the block. And float the legs up. Now, reach your toes away. Hold before the feet go on the ground. And then squeeze and float. Couple more. Hold. The hold is the fun part, yeah? Yeah. That's that's the exciting part. Yeah, I figured. Make sure you're breathing and squeezing and looking forward through your knees. If you need to, of course you can put your head down. It's fine. We have 4. 3 more. And once again, breaks are great. If you need one, take one. Trying not to bend the knees, but reach the knees away from the face. So you've got like an apple in between your knee pit. Hug your knees towards your chest. Nice job. And come all the way down. Yeah, now go ahead. We're gonna take the prop and we're gonna slide it underneath our hips. Yeah, it is. So feel the ball being beneath your sacrum, okay? If it feels like it's about to shoot out across the room, move it up some. If it's on your low back, it is too high up and it needs to be lower. So first, just kind of feel where your hip bones are and where your back and ribs are. If you are arching here or in an aggressive tuck, I'd like you to find a little bit more neutral. Now just shift your hips to one side and then the other, kind of like a typewriter going back and forth. Or if you've never seen a typewriter before, like you're swiping right or left. I know, I'm like, what other modern swiping adventures are there? Couple more. Trying to keep your knees relatively still. 2 more. Last one. Come back to center. Now maintaining that pretty neutral pelvis, we're still hugging our hips and ribs together. And then we're just using the fronts of our abs to press our sacrum into the ball. Hopefully you just felt your deep abdominals kick on more. And then relax. If you didn't, see if you're squeezing your glutes to lift off, right? So think about the buns being soft and that transverse abdominis hugging together and pressing down. You can even take your fingertips, place them about an inch in from your hip bones and half an inch down, and see when you press down if that muscle recruits, right? So press down like you're trying to pop the ball. Good. Everybody feel that muscle recruit a little bit more? Good. 2 more like this. If you don't feel it recruit more, ask yourself if you're tucking. Hold this last one. Keep that pressure, float one leg to tabletop. Reach that leg away from you, push it into the ground, toe ball heel, float the other leg up. Good. Just a little march. I want you to really focus on the push down into the ground as well as maintaining that kind of attempt to pop the ball. Everybody feeling their abs just a little bit in a surprising way? Yeah. Now, if you want, of course, you can float your legs past each other, but I don't want you to necessarily give up on that push into the ground, right? That's still allowing our posterior chain to kick on a little bit. Couple more here. And of course, if you're feeling adventurous, you can always do opposite arm and leg. Just make sure that you're able to maintain the integrity of the exercise, right? If all of a sudden you feel like you're gonna fall off the prop or you can't feel your deep abdominals working anymore, maybe keep your hands back on the ground. We have just a couple more here. And 2. Last one. Bring both feet together. Now, hands can be up or hands can be at your sides. It's up to you. Imagine your feet are against a wall and you're just gently going to push them into the wall. Good. Now, keeping that muscular connection, hopefully you just felt your hamstrings kick on. Ribs still knit together. Both knees can drop away from your face. Exhale, float them back. Good. And then if you want, of course, your arms can go the opposite direction. Few more. How's everybody feeling? Great? Yeah. Three more. Two more. Last one like this. Still keeping those ribs drawing in, belly button being pulled towards the ground, or like hot lava is coming at you. Good. Now hug one knee in towards your chest, extend the other leg out, and see where it goes, right? Maybe it's like, oh yeah, I'm already to the ground because your quads and hip flexors aren't tight at all, which is amazing. If you've been sitting a lot, maybe your leg is floating. If it is, that's okay. Press that heel down like you're trying to drive it into the ground and see if you can get a little bit more stretch through the front of your thigh. And bring that leg in, other side. Kind of see where it wants to go, and then see if you can encourage it to get a little stretch. right? If your pelvis changes shape, don't worry as much about getting the leg down as keeping that gentle posterior tilt and that length through the front of the thigh. Couple more breaths. Bring both legs in, lift your hips off the ball, come all the way down. Good. Now, grab behind one thigh and kind of pull that knee in, slide the other leg out. See if you can get a little stretch up near the glute a little bit. If you're like, well, sort of, straighten your leg a little bit. See if you can increase that stretch a little. Good. And then you can take that leg across your body slightly if it appeals to you. So we're not getting a huge rotation of our spine. We're actually trying to find a little tiny stretch here through the leg. Now come back to center. Think about squeezing your quad to straighten your leg. And then see where that hamstring stretch occurs. Right? Maybe it's a little farther away. No big deal. We're actually going to, wherever your hands are, you're going to take your leg, keep your knee straight, and gently at 10% of your ability, press your leg into your hands for 5, 4, 3, 2. Inhale. Exhale, relax. See if you can get a tiny bit more either pull towards your face or straightening of the leg. One more like this. We're just going to push into our hand for 5, 4. Everybody feel their hamstring activate a little? Yeah. 3, 2. Inhale. Exhale. See what your body wants to do. Good. Let's switch legs. So keep that knee bent and just kind of see if you can get a little stretch. Maybe you have to straighten your leg some. Maybe you want to pull the leg across ever so slightly. And we're just breathing. So our hamstrings, of course, can be felt near the knee or up near the hip or anywhere in between. And sometimes if it's tight near the knee, it's really hard to get the stretch up near the hip. So that's why bending the knee can sometimes help. One more breath. And then extend your leg, just see where it goes. Maybe it's kind of far away. Maybe it's bent. It's all right. Squeeze your quad to straighten your leg as much as you can. And then press your leg into your hands for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Exhale. See if you can either straighten the leg more or get it more towards your face when you relax. And then one more. And keep in mind, everybody's body is different. Maybe your hamstrings are like Gumby. Maybe they're like a rubber band that's been in a hot car for a while. That's how my hip flexors are, right? And relax. And bring both legs back. Lovely, everybody. Good. Now, bring one leg at a time to tabletop. Squeeze your inner thighs together as if you were trying to pop a balloon. Arms can either come out to a T or goalpost. Think about the ribs connecting down. Let one hip lift while the other one lowers. We're getting a little bit of rotation, but we are holding. It's not a lot of rotation because it's about strength rather than increasing that range of motion, yeah? Now exhale, think about your waistline dragging you back. And then we get to do the other side. One hip lowers while one hip lifts. Try to keep those knees together as if you're holding on to something precious in between them. Exhale, the waistline drags your legs back. It's as if your legs are a passenger in a car, right? They're along for the ride, but they are not driving. Your ribs are the steering wheel. And again, up and over, and we hold. Drag it back. One more each side, like this. Now you can absolutely keep your head down for this. I'm going to show a couple different ways. So if your head is down, you're going to take your hands, place them against one of your thighs. Use your armpit muscles to push into either your leg or your prop, and you push the other leg away. Drag it back in. And again, reach it away. Drag it in. If your head is elevated, we're actually going to do same side hand as leg, opposite hand behind your head. Reach and drag. Got a couple more. If your head is elevated, try to curl your collarbones forward so you can look in between your knees. Good, good. Couple more. Now keep the bent knee right where it is. Keep your prop against it if you're using one. And all we're gonna do is switch hands. So the hand behind your head goes to the knee or that prop. Opposite hand comes behind your head. Now we're just getting that oblique a little differently as you send that leg away and drag it in. How's that feeling, everybody? Exciting? Great. Now, if you tend to reach your knee really high to the sky, imagine your foot's against a heavy piece of furniture, and maybe you want to push the furniture away. You don't need a straight leg in order to get your abs to activate, right? 2. Last one. And come back to center. Other side. So if your head is down, both hands are going to be on one leg to start. You reach that leg away, drag it in. When you press into the leg or the prop, we're trying to find those armpit muscles. We're trying to find serratus and a little lat. And closing those ribs helps your diaphragm not flare, and it helps your rectus abdominis kick on, okay? If you are lifting your head, same side, hand as leg. Good, so if you're using your right leg, right hand. Yeah, pushing against it. Elizabeth, switch hands. Yeah. No, keep the leg still. Yeah, there you go. That's okay. Switching sometimes hurts the brain. It's fine. We have 3 more. Good. 2, reaching that foot away from you rather than up and down. So good. Push into an imaginary surface. Good. And then switch hands, right? So it's kind of tempting to lift and lower, but I want you to think about, once again, you've got a heavy couch that you're trying to move across the room. And it's heavy enough that your arms are like, I can't do this, right? So you're gonna use the power of your legs and your abs. Good. 3 more. How's everybody feeling? Good? Good. 2 more. Last one. Hug your knees in towards your chest and rock from side to side. Now, we're going to set the ball to the side, and you can keep your knees slightly bent here. And we're just going to imprint our spine, come to neutral. 1 more. Now, extend your legs and see if you can still imprint your spine. And if you can't, bend your knees just a tiny bit so you can, okay? Because as we come up, letting our spine imprint to help us is gonna make this move easier. So arms come overhead, reach your fingertips forward, neutral pelvis, inhale, exhale, imprint to roll up. Yeah. Now, if you like a pad underneath your back, great. If you like to bend your knees, great. We're gonna roll it down. If you feel like you have to kind of muscle your way up, instead of that, I would rather you use your leg to help you, or use, yeah, that was beautiful. Or use your feet sliding away from you a little bit, right? Good. And as we reach forward, think about still lifting those ribs. Good, good. Ah. Couple more here. 3. 2 more like this. Nice job, everybody. Also, back row, in case you're wondering, yes, I'm watching you guys from a couple different ways. And come all the way up. We're gonna take our prop and pop it behind us. Now, we can either use this for like a lot of ab, or we can get some back extension, especially upper back extension. We're gonna do a little bit of ab and mostly extension, okay? So hands behind your head, find a position that's comfortable for you, nod your chin. As you extend, still think of keeping your ribs drawing towards your belly button and slowly coming into that extended position. And then exhale, think about sinking your ribs into the ball to lift you up. Yeah, good. And everybody's proportions are different. Everybody's placement of the ball is different. And let's be honest, even the balls are different, right? Sometimes they're a little bit smaller, thicker textured, or like a bigger, thinner one. So don't worry if your elevation looks different than mine, right? Nancy at the top, don't pull on your neck. So lift your ears to the sky. Yes, much better. You didn't think I was watching, did you? Couple more. And 2. Now we're gonna make a little circle. So come forward, rotate to one side, extend over the ball, look to the sky, look the other direction, come up. Come back to center, rotate. We're going the same direction several times. This should feel easy on your spine. It should feel good on your back. If it doesn't, don't do it. Keep it in a range that feels good for you. Still hugging those deep abdominals together. Last one like this. And then we get to do the other direction. So rotate, extend, come back to center, rotate the other side, come up. Good. Couple more here. And 2. Last one. Come all the way up. Nice job. We're going to come onto all 4s. How's everybody doing? Good? Good still? Great. So if you want to use the prop for a little added information, you can. But keep in mind, for example, I have short little T-Rex arms. So my spine is completely flat here. If I had longer arms, it's gonna put me at a different angle, okay? Which is just gonna make it a little bit more challenging. So if you have one of these and you wanna try it out, flatten the bottom of it and place it on your low back. Now, making sure that your shoulders are above your wrists, we're pressing in more with your pointer finger mound. Think about a gentle external rotation of your arms. Think about pulling your mat apart. And then even though we're in a neutral spine, we're still hugging our abs in and up. Now, we're starting with little kitty cat paws. Lift one hand, and then other side. Good. Back and forth. Gorgeous. Good, everybody. You look so good. Yeah, yeah. Or if you're noodles, just wanna. Good. Now, we keep both hands down. Find your abs again. We're not lifting our leg high, okay? We're going to hover one of our feet above the floor and push it away. It's only like an inch above the floor. Yep, and then bring it back. Good. And then other side. Reach it away. Good. Now you may have noticed I already lost mine. That's okay. It's just information, right? Think about pushing the foot away from you, low, rather than getting it high. And just notice if one side is easier than the other, right? Now, if you're like, yeah, this is pretty cool, make sure you're still pushing the floor away. Now you can try reaching opposite arm and leg away from each other. If you're like, ooh, that doesn't work for me, that's okay. I didn't see anything. Right? It's just information. Notice if one side is the side that always wants to roll, right? Good. Keep pushing the floor away. Straight arms, please. Lifting towards the sky. One more each side. Good. Now, if you're ready, slide one foot out, push it down into the ground, lift into your plank. Belly button in and up. Good. Nancy, lift your ears. Yep, and belly button. Yeah, there you go. Kyle, tuck your tailbone a millimeter. There you go. Now, bend your knee, reach it back. Other side, we're doing front support. If all of a sudden your ball moves, check to see what your hips did, right? Press down instead of back with your feet, right? So if you're pressing back, your mat is gonna move. If you press down, it's gonna stay more still. Yeah. Last one, knees down. Press yourselves into a rest position. And take your hands up and over to one side. Press your hips away. Get a nice stretch into that area. Inhaling. And then other side. And come back. We're gonna take the prop, and we're popping it between our feet. I know, it's exciting. Now, if the ball is too wobbly, you can always put the yoga block in between your feet. You can also just ditch the prop entirely. And you have the option of either being on your elbow or lengthening out. Lift your ribs as if I was going to slide a sheet of paper underneath you, and you want to make it easy for me. So we're trying to find a nice straight spine. Top hip lengthens away from the face. Now find your knee. I want that top knee slightly forward of the bottom knee. Yeah. Now keep that hip bone pointing forward. Keep that knee slightly forward of the bottom one. Press down into your heel, spiral your thigh. Hold. And just hold. Elizabeth, that looks good, but if you bend your knees a little bit more, it might help. Yeah. Good. How's that feeling, everybody? Touch where you're feeling the work. It should be back here, good. And then slowly lower. So that TFL at the front corner should not be doing the work. However, it tends to be like an overly eager intern. So it's going to try to do the work even if it's not its job. It is an abductor, like it takes the leg away from the body. So even though it's an internal rotator, sometimes it gets confused. So think about the glute spiraling that thigh open. 2 more. Last one. Bring that knee down. Now, all we're doing is we're taking that top knee and sliding it behind the bottom knee. Now, instead of a nice flat back, we are curling slightly. Okay, so now we're in an imprint, our ribs are in. You're gonna hold the ball, press down into the ball, and then only take that top knee, drive it down, 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 down into that bottom knee. Elizabeth, slide your top knee back a little, back. Yeah, there you go. Good. Everybody feel that inner thigh kick on? Great, and relax. And then drive it down, 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 down again. Gorgeous. Couple more. That inner thighs are important. One more. Now, see if you can drive, keep your hip still, right? If it hikes, that QL is trying to help. Try to keep the front corner of your hip relatively quiet. Try to find more activation in that inner thigh as we start to rotate that foot. Yeah. Hold. So the knee is still down. It's still driving down into that knee. Put your knees together, Nancy. Slide your top hip back. Yeah, keep pushing, pushing, pushing that knee into the, yeah, there you go. Now hold that. Drive your heel to the sky. Reach it away from you. Good. Push it away. Kyle, hip back, back, there. Now, allow that knee to come right where it was. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze it against your bottom leg. Good. And then push it away. Reaching it so far away, it helps you lengthen your spine. And then in. 2 more. Good. Last one. Hold it. Now all we're doing is we are rotating. Take that top arm, rotate it down. Head comes with you. So your ribs have rotated. That leg is behind you now. Tiny little lift and lower. Still trying to drive it away from you. How's everybody doing? Feeling that glute? Don't let the hips move or the spine move. We're still engaging our abs. Now tiny circles. 5, 4, and reverse. Hold. Now rotate all the way back onto your forearm. Keep pressing the floor away, lift your bottom leg, and down. So this foot is elevated. Push your foot towards me a little bit more. Yeah. Yeah, so you're lengthening through this. Yeah, and then just lift that bottom leg. Yeah, and then back down. Lift the bottom leg and down. Hey, Nancy, push your foot towards Elizabeth. Yeah, lift your bottom hip. Yeah, try not to sink when you lift the leg. Yeah, so it's like a plank, not a V. 2 more. Last one. How's that glute feeling, everybody? Amazing. Hold. We tiny little lifts. 5, 4. Try to lift the knee as well as the foot. 2. Last one. And other side, you guys. Yeah, surprise. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Now, once again, lift the ribs, take that top hip, sneak it forward, widen through your sits bones. In between the ankles, yeah. And then spiral that knee up and spiral it down. And spiral up, hold, 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 and just start to notice where you feel the work. I want it to be the back of the hip, not the front of the hip, right? Front of the hip shouldn't be doing any of the work. It should be the glute. And then slowly lower. If for any reason the front of that hip is just like, I'm doing all the work, as you spiral that thigh bone, you can also slide your foot slightly closer to you to see if that helps that glute kick on a little bit better. How's everybody feeling? Scared, huh? Don't worry, it'll all be over soon. 2 more. Last one. And now that leg comes down. Now all we're doing is sliding that top knee behind the bottom knee. We're going to sink the ribs, tuck the tailbone, and keep that foot pressing down a little, and then just push that top knee into the bottom knee. Elizabeth, knee back. Yeah. And then tuck your tailbone, look at your knees for me. Like this. Yeah, there you go. See if that helps that inner thigh kick on more. Yeah, is that delightful? Good. And then relax. And then reach it down, 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 down. 2 more like this. Keep the ribs sinking back behind you here. Now on this next one, keep that knee pressing in. We want to keep this front pocket out of it. We're going to try to find those inner thighs as we allow that thigh to rotate. And we hold. Keep pressing down. Now, push that heel away from you, reach it away, and then allow the knee to come in. Squeeze, 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 and then push. Reach. Good. Finding those abs and bring the knee in. Couple more. How's everybody feeling? Good? Good. Think about pushing that foot so far away from you that it actually helps lift your ribs. 2. Remember, our whole kinetic chain is connected. Last one, hold. Now all we're gonna do is rotate away. And then tiny little lifts and lowers here. If for any reason your spine doesn't like to rotate this much, temper your range. 4, still pushing the foot away. 3, 2, and we circle. Think about that glute helping drag that foot behind you as if you're dragging it through wet sand. 3, 2, reverse. Almost there. 3, 2, hold it, come back to center on that forearm. We're still pushing up, and then all we do is lift the leg and bring it down. And hey, we've got the ball here, so if you're like leg on the ball, right? But we're also trying not to sink as we lift that leg. Think of pushing down into the ground, lifting your ribs up, and then stabilizing, right? 3, doing great. Nancy, bring your leg forward. Switch, top leg back, bottom leg forward. Yep, there you go. Bend it, bend your bottom knee, top leg is away from you. Switch your legs. No, top leg is straight. Yes, hold it there. Bend your bottom knee towards your face. More. Good. Now bring your foot out from underneath your butt. Yeah, Now lift it. Yeah, yeah, there you go. Yeah, you were like, why is this so easy on this side? I must be really strong. Well, you are, but last one, and we're coming to our stomach. Now switch your hips a little from side to side, relaxing everything. Now this is a very specific style of back extension, so it's going to be a little different than you might be used to. Suction cup your hands to the ground. Think of a lat pull, right? So you're like that big lat muscle is pulling your shoulders down and then dragging your elbows down. Think of them like pulling so much that it's almost like you're trying to reach the crown of your head away from your feet. Push your hands and elbows into the ground to lift your collarbones a little bit, but once again, it's like being shot out of a cannon, not lifting towards the sky. Glutes activate, inhale. Exhale, float your arms up. Then everything lowers down. Okay, lat pull again. Keep your hands and elbows down. Hug them in. Lengthen through your ears. Find your glutes, and then float your arms. And then down. We are trying to bypass our erector spinae muscles, right? So that's why our arms are down and assisting us. Lat and glute, trying to get that posterior oblique subsystem. And then you lift your arms. So we're trying to get our multifidus muscles nice and active. Last one like this. Good. Now, we're going to lower down 1/2 inch. Now you can use your erectors to lift up 1/2 inch. Trying not to retract the scapula too much. It's more like you're trying to pull your elbows down towards your hips. If you need your hands down a little, that's okay. If it felt better to stick with the multifidus action, that's also fine. Hands come forward, suction cup them to the ground, opposite arm and leg. So think about pushing them away, other side. So it is a swimming variation. And if you want to do full swimming, you can. You hover. But if it's like you're being rocked by the rapids, come back to opposite. 2 more. Last one, each side. Press yourself to your rest position. And breathe. Take your hands up and over to one side. Push your hips away. And then other direction. We're coming all the way to standing. And then we're just doing a teeny bit of balance work, because what kind of class would it be if we didn't integrate it slightly? So go ahead, bring heel to toe, like you're tightrope walking. Squeeze your inner thighs together, and feel free to let your feet move a little bit, right? Let them move so your body knows, okay, I know how to respond. Good. And just once you feel okay, hang out. Now, if you feel real good here, close one or both eyes. Yeah. And then if you still feel good, bring one arm overhead. And then other arm. It's a whole new world, isn't it? If you are like worried about falling, keep an eye open. And you can always do spirit fingers or jazz hands. Open your eyes. We get to do the other side. Heel to toe. Let your feet move, right? Because we want to be able to be like the willow tree instead of the oak tree. Because the oak tree is really stable until the wind gets too high. The willow tree can support itself, yeah? So feel free to close one or both eyes. And then you can start arms, if that works for you. Couple more. Big breaths. And then both arms down, feet together. Flip your palms up, thumbs back. Open your collarbones to the sky. Arms down, slide your shoulders to your ears. Drop them down. Nice job, you guys. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you so much for joining me. You guys did amazing.